Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Clarissa. I'm an aspiring clothes maker from Glasgow, Scotland, and this is where I share with you all the crafty projects I've been working on. I took a long break from podcasting because we recently moved house. As you can see, this is a new background. We're still in the middle of organizing things, so you can see the boxes are still there, and hopefully they'll be turned into like a rocket ship or something for my little toddler. We'll see if we ever get around to doing that. Everything is really bare, and that's just how it is with with moving house with a toddler and still working a full-time job. It's just manic, and that's why it took a while for me to come back. But I am back. I have so much to share with you all. I never stopped knitting, so I've got lots of projects that I've worked on. I have a few finished objects, one of which is now back to being a work in progress. I'm going to tell you all about the Scottish Yarn Festival that happened more than a month ago now, which was great, and some of the yarn that I picked up there. And I will also be sharing with you a new project planning system that I'm trying because I'm really nerdy that way. Yeah, grab your favorite project and probably a nice hot drink, and let's dive in. I'm wearing the first sweater by Hive Knits. I've talked a lot about this already because I don't really have very many hand knit clothes just yet. I'm not so sure about the shirt showing over here, but it's the only way I can wear it, if I'm honest. The mohair, I think this is Drops Kid Silk, and here comes my dog. And it's just a little scratchy on the neck, so wearing a t-shirt just works the best for me. Right, so I have a few finished objects, the first of which is this as a basket bag by 2 of Wands. Ta-da! It's all finished. I'm so proud of myself, as this is the first big crochet project that I've ever worked on. This is a single crochet, and then you have this, I want to say dip stitch, but I think that's knitting. Crochet calls it like a, I need to look at the pattern. It's called spike stitch single crochet, this one. So I think the concept is similar to a dip stitch because you place your hook a couple of rows below and then pull the yarn up from there. It's turned out quite neatly. Then you have a single crochet, and then the straps are a bit dodgy, but I'll get into that in a moment. So first things first, again, this is I've used the Drops Paris yarn and Almond. It's 100% cotton. I still need to wash this bag, so I'm assuming, actually, I don't know if it's going to grow or if it's going to change, but I have used it. I brought it to the grocery with me, and it carried 4 cans of cider and a few bits of grocery shopping, and it held up really well. So I'm really glad about that. Even if the straps might look a little bit thin and flimsy, it held up really well. I don't really know how to close things in the round and make it look quite seamless. I think this is where my round ended. And then I don't really remember anymore what happened here, but this is where the round ended, and that's why there's it looks like I did one extra row up there, but I don't really know how to close it properly. So I Googled it, of course, and then I tried one of the suggestions where you use a tapestry needle and then go under the first stitch and then come back out, and it did not turn out very well for me. I'm sure I'll find a better way next time, but I just wanted to finish it. And then I also wove in my ends immediately here because something, again, I Googled. I think I watched like a YouTube short to show me how to do it. So this person just said weave in the ends. It has to go 3 times back and forth, and that you start off in a different stitch so it doesn't unravel when you go backwards, which was really helpful. I think it's turned out all right, except that maybe on this bit, because I was maybe too close to the top edge, it kind of makes the bag fold outwards. So if you see it from here, from the inside of the bag, this is the woven in ends, and then you can see it kind of fold outwards that way. I should mute my computer. All right. Now for the straps. This was I most likely didn't follow instructions because I couldn't understand how to get from one end of the bag and to be able to crochet on the other end of the strap. So my yarn was here. You can see my yarn was here and I needed to crochet this way. So it's, I don't know, kind of wonky now from the inside. From the outside, I don't really mind it, to be fair, because it's my first project and I'm just happy I finished and it looks fine and it works, you know. I did better here in on this strap, but I think what I did was I did like a chain stitch to be able to get to the other side of the thing. And I think the instructions, I think it only asked to do two rows of crochet on the strap, but in the end I did maybe 3 because I thought I would like the strap to be a bit thicker. That's what I did. Yeah, this strap was neat. This bit is the neatest one. It's probably the third one that I had done. And then I even connected it this way. I probably did that wrong as well. But I don't mind. It's a nice bag to bring to the shops with me, or I don't know, maybe the beach, but who wants to go to the beach in Scotland? That's not true. Actually, the beaches in Scotland are really beautiful. There are beaches that are like turquoise blue and white, bright white sand, and it looks really tropical on a bright and sunny day, but of course, those are few and far between. And still, even on a bright and sunny day, you probably wouldn't want to take your clothes off because the water is still going to be really cold. And in my definition of a beach as a tropical island girl is a place where you can take your clothes off, but at least, you know, wear swimwear and be comfortable. My next finished object is this Moby mini sweater by Petite Knit. Ta-da! All of my ends have been woven and this is now washed and blocked. Yay! I'm so proud of myself for finishing this. I think it's one of the more complicated patterns I've ever done, and yeah, I'm just really, really happy about it. I'm not sure what I had done here in the crisscross type bit, but at the bottom of every diamond, there's like a little hole. Whoops. I'm sure Jack won't mind, but I'm wondering if there's a way to kind of fix that or if that's just part of the pattern anyway. But other than that, it's really good, I think. Cables were fairly easy to do. The pattern was fairly memorizable. Now, on the sleeves, the first time I did the sleeves, I didn't decrease. I don't know what I was thinking, or I just kind of kept working the pattern and I didn't really read forward with where the bit of the pattern says, and at the same time you need to decrease. So I had to rip back and then do it again. I think it was this one that I had done first, and then did some decreases. So the pattern also gives you a number of decreases and also the length of the sleeve. When I had done the right amount of decreases, the length turned out to be too long. So I ripped back again and just let it be. Like it's just not going to have the right number of decreases. I'm sure Jack won't mind, especially now. And I'm hoping that this will still, in general, fit him next year, and I can just redo the sleeves and this bit and make both longer, the body and the sleeves longer. Hopefully that'll work. Well, we shall see. For the sleeves, I had also done a tubular bind off, which I normally like, but Petite Knit, apparently this isn't the only pattern she does it for, but she does a double knit row, so two rounds of double knitting, and then doing a tubular bind off. I think it's called a tubular bind off and not the Italian one. One or the other. One type of bind off has double knitting, the other one doesn't, but it's, I think, more or less the same. The actual bind off procedure is more or less the same. Yes, I done that, but then it's turned out not stretchy. I wonder if it's because of the double knit rounds, or if, I don't know, or because I had bound off too tightly. But then my other sweater, the Salty Day sweater, which I'll talk about in a bit, is I bound it off without the double knitting. I think it's called the Italian bind off. I hope I'm not getting them mixed up. And it's turned out stretchy, so I'm not sure. And then this, for the sleeves, I'm sure I had done this first because it's a lot wider than this second one. You can see. I'm sure like the number of decreases and the number of stitches are all the same because and even the number of rows are all the same. But one sleeve turned out a lot smaller and tighter. It's likely the way I had bound off. I'm wondering if it's to do with, if any of that is to do with the double knitting as well. But in any event, Jack won't mind, I think. And I'm hoping, again, next year I'll just redo it. But for this year, I think I'll just leave it. I think it's going to be too big for him for now anyway. So one of the things I was thinking about while making this sweater was, well, how actually should you be counting your rows? For example, it's not very clear here because the decreases are in a moss stitch, but I'll show you using the Salty Days sweaters. Here's a sneak peek of the Salty Days sweater. So when the pattern says, let's say after whatever 10 rows you decrease, where do you count your first row? Do you count the row? Do you count the bit where the, let's say, 2 stitches are decreased as number 1, or do you count the loop that created that decrease as the first row? So let me illustrate. In this decrease, do you count this bit where the stitch marker is as row 1, where you can see the 3 stitches were decreased together, or do you count this first row as row 1, and therefore 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say on the 5th row you need to decrease, or do you count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here? So my husband's aunt, she knits as well, and she said just do it consistently and it's going to be fine, which is true. I think I will just do it consistent. As long as you do the same thing, it's totally fine. But I would like to know the answer to that. What do you guys do? Please comment down below. Another thing to tell you about this project is I picked up stitches both on the collar and in both sleeves in the same way that I did the Salty Days sweater pickup. So if you watch the tutorial for that sweater, Kika, that's the designer's name, she divided the circumference into 3. Well, I divided it by 4 and then distribute the stitches evenly there. But there are patterns like this one, like this Moby Mini, where the designer tells you to pick up every X number of rows, or to pick up X number of stitches over X number of rows, or let's say 3 stitches in 4 rows or something like that, or and pick up in every row or whatever. But I felt like I don't really know how to pick up if it's not a row. You get what I mean? So in this section, it's obviously each row. So you just count the number of rows there. But when you get to like this bit at the top where it's not exactly clear what the rows are here in the armpit here-ish, about here. Like you can't really count the rows because they're columns, not rows. Is that right? Is that, I'm thinking of it in Excel, from an Excel perspective. But I hope you understand what I mean. Like it's not really clear to me where the rows are, and it depends on the kind of stitch. Like I can't really tell if it's a stockinette, then it's kind of understandable where the each row is. But then if it's like this moss stitch or if it's any other stitch, I'm like I get lost. It's just too much thinking. So I really like the idea of dividing it and then dividing the sections and then making sure you have more or less an even amount of stitches in each section. So I thought that was really cool. Next project is a finished object that's become a whip. This is my Salty Days sweater. The sleeve is in progress again. So as you can see, the sleeves have turned out to be much too long. I don't know why I continued knitting. I even blocked it. I don't know what I was thinking. Actually, no, I know what I was thinking. I thought that this 2x1 rib would stretch out this way and would make the sleeves shorter. But in the end, everything just got bigger and longer. This was knit in 6mm needles, and so it's already quite a chunky knit. And by having extra long sleeves, it just didn't really work out. Just to double back, the yarn that I used is Sandnes Garn, Double Sunday in pink, and knitting for olive soft silk mohair and poppy rose. I keep getting interrupted, and this is just life now. So I hope it's okay that things have changed a little bit. The lighting is all off now because the sun has set, and I'm now having to use a little desk lamp. Hopefully that's okay and that you can still see me. I'll have to probably have to use a decent light later, but I'll take a lot of B-roll in the right light so that you can see the colors as they are. Right, so I was talking about the Salty Days sweaters. As you've seen, the sleeves were really much too long, and I couldn't really simply rip back and then knit the cuff because of this beautiful whatever end of the sleeve panel of lace and eyelets. So what I did was I measured how many centimeters I needed to reduce the length by, and then counted how many rows that was. So let's say I don't really remember anymore how many rows, but let's say I needed to have decreased 18 rows, and there are 3 decrease rows in the 2x1 rib section. That means I cut the number, and then let's say normally each decrease section is about, let's say, 15 rows, and then that means I just knit 9 rows and then decrease the 9 rows and decrease. I hope that was clear, but that's what I did to proportionally distribute the reduction of rows within the decrease sections. I hope that was clear. Now I'm working on the second sleeve. So the first sleeve is all done and all in the right length. I'm just working now on the second sleeve. Oops. Here it is. And yeah, it's going well so far, I think. And then after this, I only thought about this recently, but when I tried it on again, I noticed that the ribbing at the bottom of the body kind of sucks in, and therefore there's a kind of a bulge that makes it appear that I am pregnant, even if I am not. And but the way Kika styles it is she tucks it, this does like a French tuck in her jeans, which is super cute and which is something I'll do, I think. But I want the option of being able to just wear it without tucking it in. And so I'm thinking that I'm going to rip back this ribbing and then knit it in a bigger size. So for me, I used size 6 millimeters, a size 6 millimeter needle for the body. And then for the ribbing, I did size 4 millimeter needles, used size 4 millimeter needles. Something I'll probably use 5, so it's a little in between. I like the smaller ribbing, so the 4 millimeter needle ribbing here in the sleeves, because I don't know, it just seemed really nice on the, like on this bit of on the hand. So that worked out well. It's just the ribbing at the body. Hopefully that'll work out. I'm also considering um reducing the length, so ripping back further, but I'm not sure how that would really look because you've got the 2x1 rib, the lace section, a little cable section, the lace section, and another 2x1 rib. Maybe I should try it on. Let me try it on. So this is what it looks like. You can see it kind of bulging. I'm thinking, so this is the, it's not very clear with my dress, but normally this is the widest bit of my hips. Would I want this jumper to be kind of up there? Oh, there's an eyelet section as well at the bottom. I don't mind the length so much. I have jumpers that are this long or even longer, really. What do you think? I'll decide, I think, when I rip it back. Let me know if you have any opinions. Another thing I finished was a secret test knit, so I can't really show anything or really speak to you about it, but I suppose I'm mentioning it to kind of justify the time that I spent on it, maybe. I don't know, but I just did it and it's now finished. And I will tell you about it when it comes out. Now, on to the whips. The first whip I would like to show you is the Primrose Slipover. It's a pattern by Along avec Anna. I am so excited by this slipover. It's just because it's such an unusual shape. I've not seen like stores in the high street sell things like this, where there's a tie in the middle, and I've not seen people out and about in the streets wear it. To be fair, I don't really go out that much, and I don't really notice. And most people here wear like big jackets anyway because it's cold, but I think it's because it's so unusual. I thought it would be super cool to knit it. But the first type of slipover like this that I've seen before was from Fiber Tales. I don't remember her name now, but she has a slipover. That was really what I wanted to knit with this yarn. So let me just show you my progress. It's really not much. And this is the Woolyknit 100% British wool cone in oatmeal, in the colorway oatmeal. And Fiber Tales has a slipover like this as well, and it's so cute, I thought. But then the yarn wasn't gonna use 4-ply. I think it was a much thicker yarn and a much bigger gauge, so I couldn't just make it happen. And then for this Along avec Anna pattern slipover, the Primrose slipover, I think she used 1 fingering weight and 1 mohair yarn, lace weight yarn, and I didn't want to use mohair anymore because this and the Salty Day sweater had mohair in it, and it's just everywhere. I forgot to use my microphone. I hope you heard all the things that I said before this. Oh dear. Oh well, it's fine. We're getting back into the groove. Next week's or in the podcast in 2 weeks will be a lot better than this, I promise. So the Along avec Anna's pattern requires, she used one fingering weight and one mohair yarn held together, but I decided to just hold together two strands of the 4-ply British woolly knit cone. And yeah, I ended up with a bigger gauge, which is kind of like halfway towards Fiber Tales' this pattern where it was really oversized and really pretty. And then this more petite sort of version by Along avec Anna. And this is why I had to knit the smaller size. So I didn't, the needle required was 4 millimeters. So I tried testing my gauge with 4 millimeters first. And of course, I didn't meet gauge. So this ended up being too big. My bust size is about 97 centimeters. And then the recommended ease was between 5 and 10 centimeters. The size options I had was either 100 or 110 centimeters. So either I had 3 centimeters of ease or 13 centimeters of ease. Either way, I wasn't meeting the 5 to 10 centimeter measurement. I decided then to just keep knitting my gauge and then knit a smaller size. I did some maths and I don't really want to give away, I don't really know what I can and can't say from based on the numbers in the pattern. But in the end, I had a few choices. It was either going to be 43.5 centimeters across the one, just the front panel, 46.5 centimeters, or 48.5 centimeters per side. I decided to do 48.5 centimeters, would have ended up like way in the back. So that was much too big. 46.5 was like right in the middle of my front and back, I guess. And 43.5 centimeters would have ended with a kind of side boob peeking out here. And I decided to use the 43.5 centimeter size that would give me 43.5 centimeters. Because when I looked at Along avec Anna's pictures, that was kind of where her vest slipover ended. Like it was here. That way there was a large enough space for the ties to kind of be tied. I think that's everything so far. I'm really excited to see how this will turn out. And this is my kind of no-brainer knitting. So the needles are off because I need them for the ribbing of the Salty Days sweater. But once that's done, and I'm hopeful that it will be done in a few days, I'll be able to knit on this again. And this is really useful for like meeting knitting, or like knitting when my husband and I are watching a movie, so that at home, because I can't knit in the dark just yet. Yeah, really excited for the end of this project. My last work in progress is a Hazel dress hack by Rosary Apparel. If you're not interested in sewing, please go ahead and skip this bit. So this is just a bit about, this is all about this dress that I'm sewing together. So Rosary Apparel has a pattern called Hazel Dress, and she also did a hack called DIY Lazy Oaf Inspired Dress from a $5 bed sheet. So that's the name of the YouTube video. I'm going to link it down below. So that's the pattern I'm following, really. And this is how far I've gotten so far, just the bodice and the ties. Oh, I've done the back as well. Oh, Muttley's back. Okay, fine. I've done the front and the back. This is just pink, like washed linen, I think, that I purchased from So Confident, the store in Glasgow. Yes, I think this is the front with the bust darts, and then the bottom here. Yeah, not super exciting just yet, but I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to finish this by this month, because it's nearly winter and I definitely can't wear this dress without knitwear on top. One of the things that I struggled with is the lining. The I tried to cut up one of my old shirts to use as lining because I thought it's not going to be seen. It's just going to line the dress to be able to hide the straps and to make it not so see-through. But I don't know, I just struggled because it was made out of cotton maybe, and then this is linen. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It just wasn't working out. And I made a mistake and I cut. So for this hack, you need to cut like 2 centimeters, I think, away from the fold. And I forgot to do that. When I decided to use just the same fabric, I forgot to do that. And then so I cut the wrong size and then I had to cut it again. Like it was a whole thing. But I got there in the end, and hopefully it's smooth sailing from here. This lighting is getting ridiculous. I'm just gonna stop here and come back tomorrow. Hello, it's the next day now and it's nighttime. Hopefully everything looks all right with the lighting. I will. I kept getting interrupted during the day yesterday, and I feel like nighttime really is probably the best time for me to be filming anyway. So I'm just trying this out. Hopefully it's okay, and that would mean it would be easier to film for me. I have my glass of wine rather than a hot cup of coffee, but we shall see how this section goes. So for this bit, I will be showing you some acquisitions and be telling you all about my plans. But before I show you the yarn that I purchased, I wanted to tell you about the Scottish Yarn Festival that happened over a month ago in Perth, Scotland. In my last podcast, I shared with you kind of a game plan for going into that festival. I think I had like a Ravelry bundle of things that I wanted to make and kind of find yarn to make those things. But oh my goodness, I made such a rookie mistake because I had these lovely patterns. I didn't bother to check the yarn requirements before going in. And really, all the patterns, it was mostly sweaters, and I can't afford to buy that much yarn for. I can't afford to buy more than one sweater quantity of yarn. I think like it would be irresponsible for me to do that. Maybe when I'm a bit better at knitting, or if I have more time, I will. But at the moment, it just wasn't right. So that really limited me. And most of the sweaters that I saved used Aran weight or DK, no, Aran or maybe bulky even, or just not fingering and not DK weight yarns. And most of the yarns in the festival, or that I saw anyway, were fingering and DK weight. All that to say, I just didn't think things through. It was such a rookie mistake, but I know now for next time to check the yarn requirements of the patterns and to also include accessories, just so I have the option to buy more yarn. Oh, well, to be fair, at the time, I didn't think I wanted to make accessories. It was going into autumn, I think, and I don't know, I didn't really think that I didn't really feel like I needed any scarves or hats or anything, but now I know I do. So maybe next year I'll be a bit more prepared and save up for so that I can buy more than one sweater's quantity of yarn. The really, really nice thing that I enjoyed at the Scottish Yarn Festival was that I met so many lovely people, and I feel like I want to support them. Like that's why I'm going to buy yarn, or that's why I'm going to buy their patterns, because they were so nice, and I feel like we are yarny friends now, and I am adopting you as my friend, even if you don't feel the same way. and I just want to support them. So first, of course, I met Eva, the organizer of the Scottish Yarn Festival. Hello, Eva, if you're watching. She is so lovely. The Scottish Yarn Festival has its own yarns for the first time this year. There's a Scottish Yarn Festival branded yarn, which is really cool. I think it's going to be up on the website soon, so I'll link it in the description below. Hopefully it's up by then, by the time I publish this video. But if you're curious to see the colors, Eva has an Instagram live on her Instagram, and her handle is Scottish Yarn Festival. It's super cool. I love how she named them clans, Scottish clans. Unfortunately, so my mother-in-law's last name is McDonald, so she's from the Highlands. She's from Glencoe, and if that was a name, I would have purchased at least a skein and given it to her. She would have loved that. I think that's a good segue to talk about the lady that I met that runs Tweed Valley Yarn, or the Hawkshaw Sheep Yarn.co.uk. That's the website. And she owns the farm. And the yarn that I purchased is from the fleece of her sheep. So she gets it spun, and I don't know if she has dyed wool, but it's scoured. This is scoured and spun in the UK. Let me just talk about the yarn now. This is clotted cream, cheviot, and alpaca yarn from the flock of Hammerland's sheep, moffat, and alpaca fiber from Cumbria. It's 100% British wool and fiber created from cheviot and alpaca fleece. This is DK weight, and yes, and the tag has a description of what cheviot sheep is, which I thought was really interesting. Okay, let me go on a little tangent here. Taylor from the Wool Needles Hands podcast created this super informative video about the kinds of sheep and the kinds of wool that they create. And it was really interesting because there were obviously, like, of course, merino and all these other kinds of wool, blue face, Leicester, like they're, of course, the quality of the yarn created from the wool of a specific sheep would be different. And I just never understood, or maybe considered, I never understood it. And that video really helped me. I was patiently waiting for her to talk about the cheviot sheep, but she didn't, unfortunately. Maybe this is a particularly British thing, but let me read out to you what cheviot sheep is. The cheviot sheep is a hardy breed of sheep, originally from the Cheviot Hills on the English-Scottish border. It is a large breed of sheep with a white head and legs. It has a durable, dense, firm, springy, white fleece, which can weigh up to 3.5 kilos with a staple length of 12 centimeters. So, yes, this is it. This is one of those woolly wools. Does smell like sheep. One of those woolly wool ones. And so I bought this because I met the farmer, like the person that owns the sheep that this is from. So I thought that was a super cool fact. And she, when I bought this yarn, I was planning to make the uns sweater. But then after thinking about it with more logic and reason, I would probably wouldn't feel comfortable with it on my neck, just because I'm thinking about the first sweater that I was wearing earlier in the video, or yesterday, and how I needed to wear a t-shirt under it. And yeah, so I decided, I think, instead of, because this is really woolly wool, a woolly wool kind of yarn, instead of making the unsweater, I think I'll make the Selbu coat, which would be really interesting because it's a colorwork sweater. I've never done anything that large colorwork before, and I have very limited experience in colorwork, but it could be fun. I'm thinking of purchasing the second color from Eva of the Scottish Yarn Festival. That's why I wanted to connect the two things. That's the only thing that's stopping me is choosing the color, right? So this for the Scottish Yarn Festival yarns, she has a lot. I think I'm choosing between a light gray, which means there's not going to be much contrast with this, but I feel like that might be really cool, you know. And then also, so either that light gray or maybe like a dark navy or a dark blue one. And my worry is that it's the dye will bleed into this. Like I don't know how that works. Like how do people have black and white sweaters without the dye washing in? And how will I know without buying the yarn first and then making a swatch? So that means I should just buy one skein first, make a swatch, try it out, and then buy the rest of the yarn. And that means paying, even if I need to pay for shipping twice, I guess it's okay, but it's more like extra emissions. I work for a climate law kind of charity, and the climate is just embedded in me now. Like it's always on my mind. And so anything to do with transportation, shipping, things like that, I try to minimize as much as I can. So yeah, that's what's stopping me. So if you have any opinions, please let me know. I think I'm leaning towards the gray just because I feel like it's a bit different. It's low contrast, but then also, would I like low contrast? I've never knit anything that's low contrast either. Maybe I should buy one skein each and then try it. That's an idea. And then if it doesn't work, I mean, I can, with the whatever skein that I don't use, I can make like a hat or gloves because I'm realizing I need some hand knit ones. My hand knit socks, I don't know if I must have said this so many times already, but my hand knit socks are the best. They're the only things that keep my feet warm because we're saving on heating like costs are very high and the world is burning. Enough of that. So let me move on. The other person I met, I don't actually know her name, but she runs Third Vault Yarns. Super cool. She showed me a blouse or a shirt that she made with. She had like a Shakespeare line, and it was like a plain green, bluish green blouse, and then it had a color work thing here that was also low contrast. But the yarn that she used to do the color work was one of her was variegated yarns that I've seen a few people do that, and I feel like it's really cute, and she was really kind. She has a Facebook group that I haven't joined, mainly because I'm not really on Facebook that much, but she has a Facebook group that you might want to join, and she was really lovely. I would like to support her as well, but I need more money to be able to buy from her. But she is on my radar. I'm always checking her website and her Instagram to see if she has any things that I feel very, very excited to purchase and might break my bank. The other person I met was Amy Palko. It was amazing. She's so lovely. You must all know her already anyway. She has a podcast herself, and I think on that day, or maybe the day before that I met her, so I went on the Sunday. The day before I met her, she released her first pattern called the Gallus Scarf. And I met her because she was showing the people, the samples of her scarves. It was so nice. The one that I fell in love with the most was the one that Rebecca of the Caribbean podcast knit. So she knit the Gallus scarf with Tamarose Sniff Nug. And I think the colors were was it white and dark gray as well? So obviously it must have been blocked and it didn't bleed. It must be possible. Anyway, that yarn was super soft and was so nice and cozy to touch. So I feel like I'm definitely making that scarf. I want to support Amy Palko, and I'm making it using whatever Rebecca had used, but probably a different color. So I'm thinking, right, my outerwear, it's mostly like dark. To be fair, it's aubergine. But I'm thinking of buying a big black jacket because my dark gray one that's waterproof and everything was for my pre-pregnancy body, and it doesn't fit me at the moment. So I'm thinking of buying a Camaro Sniff Nug, maybe in like pastel-y kind of colors, like a light pink or a light yellow or blue, purple. I'm not sure what would be available, but that is my plan, to make like a scarf for the winter using Camaro Sniff Nug and following whatever Rebecca had done. I think if I understood Amy correctly, Rebecca used the same stitch counts and everything, except that the yarn was just a lot bigger, so the scarf turned out a lot wider than the pattern recommended. I think I would like to do that. I also found this yarn shop called Needle and Thread. I was lusting over their yarn. It was so nice and soft. Now I don't even remember what the yarn was called, and I should probably check their yarn store. But I haven't been checking yarn stores or anything online because we just moved house and I need to save my money again. And when I'm able to afford it again, I will purchase from these people. The life of, I don't know, working for a charity, taking care of a toddler, living in a new country, moving house, trying to maintain a lifestyle that was pre-child, but also trying to give my child everything I want to. Even I don't think he really wants to buy all these new things, but I do. Mama life. Mama life. All right. So at the beginning of this podcast, I mentioned that I am trying out this project planning system, sort of, that for my knitting projects. And this was completely inspired, or I was completely influenced by Natalie from the Love and Stitches podcast. She's also known as Knitty Natty on Instagram and on YouTube. And so she has this project planning system where she has like a monthly goal, and then she breaks it down per week and thinks about, okay, if this is my goal, what do I need to do each week so that I can achieve it? I don't think I'll be able to go that granular just because, I don't know, life with a toddler is so unpredictable, but I love the idea of having a goal and kind of what would I like to focus on for the month. So let me share with you my plans. So for until the end of October, which is either has already ended by the time I publish this, or hopefully not yet. Hopefully I'm able to publish this on the 30th or 31st. It is now Friday, the 27th of October. So for the end of October, I'm hoping to be able to finish the Salty Days sweater sleeves. But now that I'm thinking of also shortening the body, or changing or at least re-knitting the ribbing, I don't know if I'll be able to finish it by the end of October. Maybe first week of November for that, because I would like to get that off the needles and on my body. And I would also like to finish the dress. The dress is a little bit tricky because with sewing, I need to take out the ironing board, and like there's just a lot more paraphernalia to take out, and depending on what happened during the day, I might not have the energy to do so in the evening. So we'll see. This project planning is already not going very well, but I had the best intentions, but I will try it anyway regardless. My rough plans for November is to finish the Primrose slipover. So my plan is to complete that, to finish that by the end of November. And then I would also like to cast on a Musselburgh hat, probably also completely influenced by Knitty Natty. And so I'm thinking, if you recall, if you watched my previous videos, I have a hand-dyed yarn by Tumeke, and it was a Bridgerton-inspired colorway, and I have one colorway with one skein. So I'm thinking that would be really nice with a Musselburgh hat. I realized that I actually don't have very many hats. I have one, which is actually my husband's, but it's like much too big for my head. I just like it because it's really warm, because I'm able to fold it up a few times on my ears. So I feel like the musselburgh hat might be perfect. I would also like to cast on, oh, the musselburgh hat is a pattern by Isolde Teague. And I'm sure y'all already know that. I know a lot of the other podcasters have already knit one. So in November, I would also like to cast on another pair of socks because hand knit socks are really the best. I'm really influenced by, I really love Handmade by Florence. She has a video about all the socks she's knit, and I think they're so pretty. That's absolutely the vibe that I would like to go for. Hopefully, they're really comfortable as well on the feet. But that is the vibe that I would like to go for it. Like neutrally, kind of pastel socks that are plain colored and have texture or lace or cables or something like that. I am planning to cast one on in November. I would also like to cast on a Christmas present. So I'm part of a Secret Santa group with my neighbors in our old house, and I would like to knit the person I'm supposed to give a gift to. What do you call them? I know in Filipino there's also a name for it, but I can't. My brain is not working anymore. Friday evening. I don't know what you call it. And I would like to give her a hand knit something. So I'm thinking the School Run headband by Laura Penrose of Penrose Knits. Or maybe like penny gloves. I'm not sure. She likes to walk her dog. So I'm thinking like a headband or gloves would be really nice for her. Another thing that I'm trying out for project planning organization type purposes and is feeding my nerdy self is to dedicate an admin day. So actually my original plan was to have like a Mend It Monday where I mend all the things that I have, like a drawer full of clothes that I need to fix, like put buttons on my husband's shorts, or like depilled jumpers, and or like even weave in ends. So I had done a bit of this last Monday. I depilled this big jumper that I really enjoy wearing, and that's when also I started on my Salty Days sweater because I was just putting it off. What's the expression? Putting in the long finger? Is that Irish? Something in the long grass? I think that's British. And I've been putting it off, in other words, and procrastinating doing it. But I had done it last Monday, so now it's up and running. And then the Monday passed, though. I don't know, it must have been a hard day because I decided I was going to take a bath, like a long, hot bath. Get some wine on, put some music. I was watching Abbott Elementary, I think, which is really funny. If you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. Yeah, so it didn't happen on Monday, so I was thinking, right, just forget the Mend It Monday thing and just have an admin day, one evening a week to spend. Maybe like my plan is to spend maybe like an hour or so every week to just get all these admin things done. I did something this week as well, Tuesday. I wove in the ends of the Moby mini sweater. I'm sure I spent an hour doing all these things. That's my admin list. Next time, I'm hoping to have like a nice notebook and have all these things written down, but in the meantime, it's just in my messy notebook and you don't need to see that. Ooh, another thing that I was influenced by, of course, was to make a knitting aesthetic mood board, or like a style aesthetic. I suppose it's not knitting specific. The problem is I just don't have the time to be going on Pinterest and more importantly, no time to go on Canva to put it all nicely together to create a mood board. But I did think about it. I did have a lot of thoughts. And so anyway, I was influenced by Taylor of the Wool Needles Hands podcast. But I was thinking about like, what is my aesthetic? What would I like to look like? What is my style aspiration, I guess? And I've decided to call myself Comfy Mom Cottage Core. Oh, it's because I really like cottage core. I guess cottagecore is different things, but I'm thinking about the whimsy, the femininity. So like floral dresses and like wavy things and like cardigans. And and there's like a specific color palette that I'm thinking about. If you know the designer Vert and Rose, that one. Like whatever she's looking and whatever she's doing, that's I like it. Her color palette is so nice and that's my jam. It's very feminine. So I'm hoping to be able to knit something of hers someday, very soon. But then I'm also a mother of a toddler and I need to wear my joggers, trainers, and I have to be comfortable. So things like yarn with mohair, knitting like a fingering weight with held together with the mohair, which is very, very popular. It's just not practical. Like this evening, while feeding Jack his dinner, or while Jack and I were having dinner, I saw he was like trying to get mohair out of his mouth, and I'm like, but I didn't even use mohair. I didn't even wasn't even wearing the first sweater I was wearing yesterday today, and yeah, it's just a nightmare. Plus, I feel like things need to be pretty oversized because I'm just not comfortable showing off skin and to show off, I don't know, my shape. It's something I need to work on, obviously, but it's just work on as in with my brain, not body shaming myself or anybody. It's more about being comfortable in my skin. It's been a year and a half and I'm still finding it really new. Just the way my shape and just the way I move and the way my energy levels. It's just motherhood. It's just a new thing and I'm still getting to grips with it. My other plan, which I don't know if it has anything to do with what I just said, but my other plan is to also still knit t-shirts or camisoles using wool. So I was wearing the Tolsta tee a few weeks ago under a jumper, and I was feeling warm and toasty, comfortable and toasty. Like it was really good, and I realized that actually I don't have t-shirts. I normally just wear like my maternity camisoles, and I've not bought any t-shirts since giving birth. So I normally wear my maternity camisoles under a jumper, and then I wear a big jacket. And sometimes I'm still cold especially if I go out without the big jacket. And it's only October, so I don't know how I'm meant to survive January and February, especially since my warm big jacket is too small for me. So I'm thinking that was a really good option to knit t-shirts and camisoles I can wear inside and I can still wear in the summer or spring or autumn. And because I have more hand-dyed yarn from Tumeke, I might just use that. So I'm looking for comfortable oversized t-shirt type patterns. T-shirt, maybe a camisoles as well, just for variety. But I have two skeins of one color and two skeins of another color, so I have an option to make them. And it doesn't require me buying any new yarn. But when I do finish that, and I do finish all the yarns that I already have, I have a good excuse to buy more. I do need to buy yarn for my Christmas present though. So, and I think that's everything. Thank you very much for sticking around and for spending time with me. I hope you have made a lot of progress in your project, and I shall see you in the next one, which will be better. Bye!